I just want my family and all the families, all the other hostages back home. I know that a ground invasion can cause a lot of casualties on both sides for innocent people. So I don't know what is the right way to do it. I have to trust the Israeli government to do whatever is right for our families, to bring them as safe as soon as possible. And I know that at some point they will have to go in because the Hamas we must put an end to the Hamas. I don't know exactly the right timing. Again, I'm not a politician. It is scary to think that they will go inside while our families is there. It can escalate the situation. So I'm afraid of it happening, but I have to trust that if that's what they decide to do, it will be in the best interest of our families and bringing them back. I can only hope so and have my trust in the Israeli government, because that's all I have right now.
We have no quarrels with the Palestinian people. And I'll be quite honest with you, my heart goes out to them. Until 20 years ago, we had Palestinian workers in the kibbutz. Ahmed used to do all the plumbing in the kibbutz, so often used to sit with him for his 10 o'clock coffee. Once the Hamas came in, for security reasons, we could not continue working with Palestinian workers, and they also weren't allowed to come and work everywhere they worked before. So, as Ofri said, we don't want to see bloodshed on either side. I know the Israeli army were not on a revenge mission. But we're on a mission that needs to take evil out of this world. It's nothing less, no different than ISIS. It needs to be eradicated, and the Palestinian people need to be freed from the Hamas. If we have to do it, I rely on the Israeli army, on the Israeli government, to make the correct moral decisions. It's a moral dilemma. But I rely on them to make the correct moral decisions, because they are a moral government and a moral army. We sanctify life, they sanctify death.
I understand how complicated it is. I believe Israel has a responsibility for the hostages and for their release. But they also have a responsibility to ensure that life can exist on the southern border of Gaza. And as long as Hamas is on the other side, there cannot be life on all of those villages and kibbutzim and towns, because we saw what happens when Hamas is across the border from us. We saw it in our own eyes, okay, but the ground is still soaking from our family's blood. We don't need to guess. They showed us what happens when they're across the border. So I have to put my trust in both the Israeli government and the Israeli army, that I can't advise them as to what's the best way to move forward, but I trust them. They know that my number one priority is to bring mom and brother back home, and I trust them to find the right balance and to do whatever they can to bring our families to us, but also to ensure that life can still exist. So when my brother and mother are returned, they're not also only returned, they also have a home they can return to. Thank you.
Yes, please.
When right from the Press Association, the mother of a British Israeli woman was around Lipschitz, which was released yesterday by Hamas. Is that development giving you any?
He said, I'm sorry, did you say mother of Sharon is British?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is that development giving you
She's
any
not.
Release.
Ma?
She's not British, she's just released.
Ah,
has that development given you any more hope at all about what would happen to your families
then if it gives us hope.
I think when anyone's released, there's a little sigh of relief. But let's be honest, it's a big gain. It's the way a terrorist movement works. It keeps those people who, in their anguish, is it mine? Who's coming? Who's coming out? So they released 2 people out of 210, 20. It's a game. As if to show, they're showing the world how compassionate they are.
Making the world forget what happened just 18 days ago. Trying to make the world forget what happened just 18 days ago. And it's those releases are really like torture for us, the families. Every time something like this came up in the media, it's really, really torture.
I spoke earlier about how those villages, those kibbutzes are very similar to villages. We all go to the same schools. We all know each other. Those 2 hostages that were released yesterday, okay, so they're not my family members, but they're someone's family. We all know each other in the area. I know the gentleman that David's daughter's married to. He's from my kibbutz. One of the ladies that was released yesterday, I know her sons. Noam's mother, Ada, was my Hebrew teacher in high school. We have a say in Israel now, everybody knows somebody. So on a personal level, someone's mom came home yesterday. Maybe not my mom, not just yet, but someone's mom came home yesterday. It's a beginning. It's far from the end. There are still hundreds of people to be released. So am I hopeful? I won't rest until the last one is home. My mom or others, Shiri's family, and I've made a promise to Shiri that when my mom is out, my brother, if God forbid her family is still in the, and now she'll do the same for me, because we all are family now, here and back in Israel. So 2 are out, their families, their husbands are still in there. Those families still don't have peace of mind. They're still worried about their fathers. Families have been torn apart. But I've made a promise, and I'm sure that we will not rest until the last one is home.
Yes, please. Hi, Sharon from BBC News. I know you wanted to speak to your brother, but you didn't want the phone to go. What would you say to your families, and what would you say to their captors now?
I would tell my brother and his family how much I love them. I always knew how much he loved me. I never knew how much I loved him. He always used to care about me. He's like this big man, but he's the most sensitive and gentle and always caring for his children, for us. So I would tell him how much I love him and how much I miss him. And how much I'm doing everything I can, which is not much, but everything I can to bring them back. And I would tell Shiva to stay strong for the kids. She's a great mom, and I'm sure she's doing everything she can to keep them safe. I hope they're not seeing too much horrible things that kids shouldn't see or experience over there. And to the Hamas, I don't think we speak the same language, and I'm not meaning about Arabic. But I would tell to them that those people are not part of this war, and children should not be part of this war, and innocent people should not be part of this war. The innocent people in Gaza shouldn't be part of this war. And they should just let all of them back home as soon as possible.
I'm clinging to the hope. My mom knows how much I love her, because I never got the chance to tell her. And I'm clinging to the hope that I'll still get the chance to say that to her again. I was so frantic to hang up the phone and call my brother and then call someone in the kibbutz and maybe send assistant and maybe someone could. And I never said I love you, Mom. People ask me back home, how come you're still standing? People come up to visit me, to pay their respect. And I haven't buried my brother yet, so we haven't had the Shiva yet. We haven't had the proper Jewish mourning. People say, how come you're still standing? On the phone, running everything. I say to them, when my mom and my brother are back, I want them to know I've done everything in my power. I want to live my life going forward knowing, being able to tell myself that I have done everything I possibly can. I just hope she knows, and my brother know how much I love them. About a month ago was the last time I visited down south, and my children were busy, my husband was resting. I had a couple of hours. I said to my mom, I'm going to grab a couple of beer bottles and run off to Roy's house. He's in a different neighborhood, and I'll go sit on his porch. And I knocked on his door. Yeah, we sat there for 2 or 3 hours just chatting. You know, a brother and a sister sitting outside with a couple of beer bottles, having a laugh. Who would imagine this would be the last time I speak to him? I'm just happy I got the chance, you know. I just grabbed a couple of bottle beers and ran off, and I said, let's have a chat, you know. Last time I spoke to him, gone, shot dead behind his house. For what? So I hope he knows how much I loved him. Yes. And I hope I get to tell my mom and my other brother face to face soon. And I have nothing to tell Hamas. Absolutely nothing. I mean, people who do this, what can you say to them?
as Ofri said. We're not talking the same language. People who can walk into other people's houses, kill their parents and tie their children up in front of their dead parents and sit there eating out of the fridge. Another house, raping young girls, killing an 8-month pregnant lady, cutting her womb open and killing the fetus inside. And you ask me, what have I got to say to them? Give me the language. I don't speak that language. Their parents know that her mum knows she loves her and her brother, and the same here. Hamas, nothing.
My name is Rachel Bibles from Sky News. What message would you like to give to the British government, anyone watching now? Have you been satisfied with the level of support you think Rishi Sunak is offering? Is there more they could be doing, do you think, to support people and hostages, themselves and families?
I think both the Prime Minister here and the President of the State of Israel committed themselves like I cannot remember anybody since the days of Koresh 2,500 years ago. Their speeches have been supportive in no way that I've ever felt in the past, but they've never really had that need. Continued support to give advice, but also to rely on the Israeli government and the army to do the right thing. But as a British citizen myself, and I love this country, but it's not the country I left. Things have changed. And I don't worry only for my own family now, I worry for my Jewish community here in Israel, in England. They live in fear. And not only do I worry for them, I worry for everybody here. Something has changed. I may be wrong. I may be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. My mother was a chairman of the Council of Christians and Jews in Leeds for many years, and she was also the chairman of the representative council of the community. And the relationships between Jews and Christians and other religions at that time were fantastic. I haven't heard any moderate religious leader stand up and condemn what the Hamas did. I don't need sympathy for what we're going through. I need people to condemn that act, and I have a feeling, and I may be wrong, that people are frightened to condemn that act. One thing in my studies I learned, and I use it in school as well, whatever is on the periphery of society, tomorrow it's in the center. We can ignore it. We can try and say, oh, it's somewhere else. It doesn't work like that. What's not dealt with, tomorrow it's on your doorstep.
I would just ask them not to forget what happened. Sometimes we have short memories, and there are other news and things are forgotten, but this should not be forgotten, and everything should be done until all our families are back. I know they are doing stuff already. I'm not sure exactly what. I'm not involved, but I'm sure that they already are involved in doing stuff, helping us bring in our families. So I just want to thank the support and encourage them to continue with their help. And just just never forget about our families, never forget about what happened in Israel.
First and foremost, I think all governments across the world, the UN, everyone, should do everything in their power to release all the hostages. There are children there, there are elderly people there, medical needs. I think the world needs to stand united behind the demand to bring all of them home. On a personal note, I'm faced with a painful situation myself. I'm a British citizen, so are both my brothers, the one who was murdered and the one who's kidnapped, Nadav. We're British citizens on our dad's side. He was raised in Wakefield, up in Yorkshire. My mom is not a British citizen, so I'm torn with So I'm just, they're talking about releasing all the foreigners and not releasing yesterday, and I believe it's part of the psychological war, I would say. Definitely. That Hamas is playing with us. So just for me personally, it's really scary that my brother will be released, and if he's like supporting my mom in some way, she'll be left without him. So, and again, the rumors, we haven't seen those 50 people home yet. They're just saying they might, maybe release. So for me, it just touches a nerve, a really painful one. Just scared that what does that mom? That's the only thing for me.
No.
Right. I'm sitting on the side because I became a poster boy of pain, and I want to actually give you everybody the opportunity to share that burden. And I want to step in now because I think we're talking about cruelty and pain, and a level that I think no one here in the UK can think about that happened here. It's shocking, it's disturbing. If I would come with more details, it would be more shock and more horror, and there is so much pain involved. It's a psychological warfare from the beginning, way the beginning of that, and it's still going on now. It's designed to shock us, all of us, separate us and kill our spirit. Kill the Israeli spirit. And I think that what we are showing together is that it did the opposite. Because we unite in pain. Because we unite in kindness and love. Nothing about religion. Nothing about borders. Nothing about gender. Nothing about color. And the psychological warfare that started before by using civilians as a shield, as a human shield, just to come up with a picture that someone from the media here will show the world that look at these guys, what they do to our kids. That when money comes in, goes to create tunnels and prioritizing tunnels rather than your own people. That when people talk about blockade, but there is enough room to bring all this ammunition in. That's about priority. That's about who we are as humans and what is it that we're willing to do for each other. And the psychological warfare continues now because we live in a world of lists. That is our life right now. We have a dead list. We have the injured list. We have the rescued list. We have the missing list. We have the kidnapped list. And now we have 4 people on the released list. The shortest list of them all. You look behind, you see pictures. I look behind. This is where we spend the summer. My son goes every summer to spend 2 months with his grandmother. 80 people, 80, from the community is gone. This is 1 in 4. So this psychological warfare is continuing. It's continued by you putting pressure on Israel now to say, what is it that you're doing? It will continue because people will go to the street and will say, from the river to the sea. I really don't think this is what I mean, because what happened on the 7th of October was the river to the sea. These cameras are weapons, for good or for bad. We need people to unite around one simple message. Your life is not more important than mine. Excuse me that I'm stepping now in, because I feel kind of felt sorry to my wife that I brought so much trauma and drama into her life by choosing to marry me. And I feel like you can't be involved in all this in a way that is so alien to your life here. And I echo David, it's not just happening in a corner in the Middle East. It's a mindset, all right? Who are we? Why are we here? And what unites us? And we will stand up for that if they leave or they die. If one of them is released or 2 of them released, till the last of them is released. For the people of Palestine who deserve proper life and a proper government that represents them in a proper way. We will fight for that. I will fight for that. And to answer your question, I would say, the Prime Minister looked me in the eye and said he will do everything in his power to help. It was comforting, it was reassuring, and we all need to see what that means, because our life turned upside down 18 days ago. We're not going to stop. We can't afford to sleep, because my mom is somewhere in a ditch. I don't know where. Because your family is there. Because for Kfir and Ariel, I will do everything in my power that they will have a future that is better than that. And the government, which we are absolutely thankful for all the efforts and the kindness, we need to see that comes across in the street. We need to see the Metropolitan Police coming in and say, guys, you know what the river to the sea means? We just saw that. That's what it means. We will never have the numbers, and that's even not the point. What we'll have is the heart, and spreading love, and standing up for love and humanity, and this is what we will continue to do, and this is nothing to do with Jewish, Christian, Muslim, or anyone else. And for that we have the numbers. So I want to thank the British government for everything that they did up till now and what they will do from here. Because we need that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take one last question, and then I think we'll start from here. I know there are some requests for specific interviews. We will help facilitate them. One last question. Okay. So I just say thank you. Thank you, Fred, David, Ayelet, and NÓNG. I don't know how you do this, because every time you have to go through the trauma again, and it's unbelievably painful for us from the side. So thank you for sharing that with us today, and we will not rest until all of our hostages are back home. And I can assure you
Now we will thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for taking the time, and you have, like NONG said so well, you have weapons for good and for bad. So please don't forget that when you tell the story of our people here, and don't forget what happened on the 7th of October. Thank you for this moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you can use the T word, because this is what it is. So just call it for what it is.
Excuse me, can you just go over three of those? One, each of the three.
Yes.
Do that. רוצים שנרים את התמונות, דיוויד? הכי קרוב שאנחנו יכולים אחד לשני. Upside down.
Looking up here, guys.
And just over this side, please.
And then just right over this fire, just